Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. India's External Affairs Minister says terrorism is one of the gravest threats to humanity, demands global action on state-sponsored terrorism, inaugurates UN exhibition on the human cost of terrorism at the UN headquarters. White House highlights strong Trump-Modi ties, underscores India's key role in Indo-Pacific strategy, confirms US-India close to finalize trade deal agreement. Comments come as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in the US to attend Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. Digital India journey completes 10 successful years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds the 10 years of transformative initiative, hails India's journey highlighting sectoral growth and development. US President Donald Trump officially dismantles decades of US sanctions on Syria with an executive order. Easing sanctions aims to boost foreign investment. Sanctions will remain on Bashar al-Assad and his associate. And Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand under revised alerts for very heavy rains in next 3 hours. Schools shut in Himachal's Hamirpur as many districts across 2 states brace for rain fury. Scorching heat wave grips much of Europe, prompting authorities to issue health and wildfire warnings. Unprecedented alerts in France. Britain swelter as temperatures soar. Good morning to all the viewers joining us in this morning broadcast. To begin with the United States and India. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Tuesday appreciated UN Security Council's strong condemnation of the Pahalgam terror attack and the need to hold its perpetrators accountable. He expressed this while speaking at the inauguration of exhibition on the human cost of terrorism at the UN headquarters in New York. Addressing the diplomats, senior UN officials and envoys gathered at the venue, Jaishankar called on the international community to stand united against terrorism. He thus stressed the need to call out state-backed terrorism and extremism openly. He also underlined the shared and urgent responsibility of global community to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations.
Terrorism is one of the gravest threats to humanity. It is the antithesis of everything that the UN stands for: human rights, rules and norms, and how nations should conduct their dealings with each other. When terrorism is supported by a state against a neighbor, when it is fueled by the bigotry of extremism, when it drives a whole host of illegal activities, it is imperative to call it out publicly. And one way of doing so is to display the havoc that it has wreaked on global society. The world must come together on some basic concepts: no impunity to terrorists, no treating them as proxies, and no yielding to nuclear blackmail. Any state sponsorship must be exposed and must be countered. By now, we know well that terrorism anywhere is a threat to peace everywhere.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will participate in the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting today. According to the ministry, the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting will build upon the discussions held during its last meeting, which took place in Washington on the 21st of January this year. The MEA in a statement said, and I quote them, "They will exchange views on regional and global developments, particularly those concerning the Indo-Pacific, and review the progress made on various Quad initiatives in the run-up to the Quad Leaders Summit, which will be hosted by India." The ministers are also expected to deliberate on new proposals aimed at advancing the shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific, unquote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will host the Quad Leaders Summit later this year, which will bring US President Donald Trump and Prime Ministers Anthony Albanese of Australia and Shigeru Ishiba of Japan to India. Now, Meanwhile, U.S. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said on Monday that the upcoming Quad Foreign Ministers meeting in Washington, D.C. will reaffirm the shared commitment of the 4 participating nations towards a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Secretary Rubio will welcome his Quad counterparts from Australia, India, and Japan to Washington to reaffirm our shared commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. This ministerial reinforces our joint resolve to defend sovereignty, strengthen regional maritime security, and build resilient supply chains.
Ghana, a name that echoes both ancient empires and modern ambition. Now, the first sub-Saharan African nation that gained independence in 1957 has emerged as a pillar of stability and progress in West Africa. Once known as the Gold Coast, its wealth of gold, cocoa and oil has powered a dynamic economy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will reach Ghana on the 2nd of July, which is Wednesday, giving a major fillip to the bilateral ties. DD India's Taposh gets us more in this report. Take a look.
Ghana, the first sub-Saharan African nation to gain independence, has long been a beacon of stability and progress in West Africa. Formerly known as the Gold Coast, it broke free from British colonial rule in 1957, inspiring liberation movement across Africa. Now, when we look at Ghana, with gold, cocoa and now oil driving its economy, Ghana has actually transformed into one of the region's most dynamic nations. The country takes its name from the ancient Ghana Empire, a medieval trading powerhouse once upon a time. Its modern history is rich and complex, from the rise of the mighty Ashanti Kingdom in the 1700s to the British colonization and multiple Anglo-Ashanti wars. Independence came in 1957, led by Kwame Nkrumah, who helped found the non-alignment movement as well. Though Ghana faced political turbulence in the following decades, democratic stability returned in 1992 with the new constitution and multi-party election. Today, Ghana stands tall, a democratic nation with a booming youth population, thriving cultural heritage, and growing global presence. The capital is Accra. The population is 32.1 million, and the languages, well, apart from English, there are 11 more local languages that's there. Ghana's journey is one of resilience, pride, and promise. With camera person Rakesh and more Mukesh Sharma, along with my engineer Saurav, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Ghana.
White House has once again praised India's role as a strategic ally in the Indo-Pacific region during a press briefing on Monday. In the briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt highlighted the strong personal relationship between US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. She also responded to questions from the reporters about the status of trade negotiations and Trump's recent comments indicating that a deal with India was near completion.
India remains a very strategic ally in the Asia-Pacific, and the President has a very good relationship with Prime Minister Modi, as you know, and he will continue to have that.
The comments came as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is currently in the United States to attend the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. Moving on, India's Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister met with Germany's Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development, Reem Alabali Radovun, in Seville, Spain on Monday. The meeting was held on the sidelines of the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development. During the meeting, the two leaders discussed various mutual areas of collaboration under India-Germany Green and Sustainable Development Partnership, including green and renewable energy, urban mobility and sustainable urban development, and sustainable livelihoods through ecology. The German minister said she looked forward to strengthening bilateral relations with India and stated that Germany would like to have greater cooperation with India. The Indian Finance Minister also met Foreign Minister of Peru in Seville. The two leaders discussed deepening strategic partnerships across fintech, trade, investment, mining and defense, as well as the potential for collaboration in infrastructure projects, particularly the railways. Nirmala Sitharaman also held a meeting with New Zealand's Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology, Dr. Shane, on Monday. Both the ministers discussed cooperation in mutual areas of interest in defence, education, technology and agriculture, along with shared values rooted in democracy, rule of law and robust people-to-people ties. The Indian Navy is scheduled to commission its latest stealth multi-role frigate INS Tamal today at Kaliningrad in Russia. Now, this will be the last warship of the Indian Navy to have been built outside India and the 8th in the series of Krivak-class frigates inducted from Russia over the past 2 decades. Once commissioned, the 125-metre-long and 3,900-ton frigate will be deployed with Navy's Western Naval Command that oversees operation in the Arabian Sea and the Western Indian Ocean. Though constructed abroad, INS Tamal features over 26% indigenous systems, including the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile capable of striking both land and sea targets. Completing its weaponry is a comprehensive set of surveillance, fire control radars and combat management systems, enhancing the ship's situational awareness and response capability in multi-domain operations. India's Ministry of Railways has rationalized the basic fare of passenger train services to be effective from the 1st of July. The train fares will be increased marginally for non-AC mail and express trains by 1 paisa per kilometre and for AC classes by 2 paisa per kilometre. The ministry has said there will be no increase in suburban single journey fares and monthly seasonal tickets. The Indian Railways is also revamping its passenger reservation system to boost efficiency, transparency and convenience. Key reforms include early charting, increased booking capacity and OTP-based Tatkal authentication with full rollout plan by December 2025. Railways Minister Ashwani Vaishnaw has approved these phased upgrades to improve travel experience. Indian Railways is modernizing its passenger reservation system or PRS to benefit millions of travellers across the country. The first reservation chart will now be prepared 8 hours before a train's departure instead of the current 4-hour. For trains departing before 2 p.m. local time, the chart will be ready by 9 p.m. local time the previous night. Now, this change will help waitlisted passengers get earlier clarity and more time to plan alternatives. A modern PRS system is expected to be fully rolled out by December this year. Ticket booking capacity will also increase from 32,000 to 1.5 lakh tickets per minute. Inquiry handling will rise from 4 lakh to 40 lakh inquiries per minute. The new system will include a multilingual, user-friendly interface with options to choose specific seats as well. It will also offer integrated support for differently abled passengers, students and patients. From the 1st of July, Tatkal ticket bookings will be allowed only for verified users on the IRCTC website or the mobile application. By the end of July, OTP-based authentication using Aadhaar or any government ID through DigiLocker will become mandatory. This will ensure a more secure and transparent booking process. The new PRS system is being developed by CRIS and will be 10 times more powerful than the existing platform. It aims to make ticket booking faster, more reliable and more accessible for passengers, especially those in suburban and remote areas. Now, starting from today, National Capital Delhi begins enforcing a fuel ban on end-of-life vehicles or ELVs. To ensure strict implementation, 350 teams from various government departments are deployed round the clock at all 498 fuel stations across the city. Coming under the ban purview are diesel vehicles older than 10 years and petrol vehicles over 15 years of age. The ban, aimed at improving air quality in Delhi NCR, will be implemented through advanced surveillance systems at fuel stations across the city. Further, the pump operators who violate this order will also face punitive action. From November, 5 high-traffic districts, including Gurgaon, Faridabad, Ghaziabad, Gautam Budh Nagar and Sonipat will begin enforcing the same rule. The remaining parts of the National Capital Region are scheduled to implement the ban starting April next year. The move comes amid growing concerns over pollution in the city and aims to build a more sustainable transport ecosystem using real-time digital enforcement. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. US approves $500 million arms sale to Israel ahead of Netanyahu's White House visit for third time under Trump's second term. Voting underway in US Senate on amendments to President's One Big Beautiful Bill. Trump says failure to pass the spending bill means a whopping 68% tax increase. And Netflix announces partnership with NASA that will allow viewers to binge rocket launches, spacewalks and more.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, President Donald Trump on Monday signed an executive order lifting US sanctions on Syria, ending the country's isolation from global financial system. Donald Trump on Monday formally dismantled US sanctions against Syria, hoping to reintegrate the conflict-battered country into the global economy as Israel eyes ties with its new leadership. The decision follows Trump's earlier announcement in May that he wanted to ease sanctions to help Syria rebuild after its long civil war. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Trump's move is aimed at creating a path to prosperity and peace for Syria. However, the order keeps in place sanctions against Syria's former president Bashar al-Assad and his close associates, as well as human rights violators, drug traffickers, ISIS members and Iranian-backed groups. The new order also officially ends the national emergency declared in 2004 that had imposed sweeping sanctions on key Syrian institutions, including its central bank. Syria's Foreign Minister Assad al-Shibani welcomed the move, saying it would open the door to long-awaited reconstruction and development. The United States has announced a $510 million sale to Israel of bomb guidance kits and related support. The proposed sale will enhance Israel's capability to meet current and future threats by improving its ability to defend Israel's borders, vital infrastructure and population centers. The State Department approved the possible sale and the DSCA has provided the required notification to the US Congress, which will still need to sign off the transaction. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed members of the Israeli army leadership on Monday, where he claimed the West Asia would collapse without Israel.
They have essentially built three paths to destruction. First, the choke ring, a plan to destroy Israel through the Axis. Second, a plan to destroy Israel through missile threats. Third, a plan to destroy Israel through a nuclear threat. This is the raison d'etre of the regime. It's not the only reason they want to destroy us, and we are not their main target. But in order to achieve their main goals, they must eliminate us. You can't conquer the Middle East without destroying Israel. And if Israel ceases to exist, the Middle East collapses immediately.
Its defense minister Israel Katz said Tel Aviv is facing the completion of Gaza campaign and the achievements of its objectives.
We are now facing the completion of the Gaza campaign and the achievement of its objectives. First and foremost, the release of all hostages and the defeat of Hamas. There are still many missions to be accomplished on various fronts and much work to be done.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will visit the White House next week for talks with President Donald Trump. Now, it will be Netanyahu's third since Donald Trump returned to power in January this year. Netanyahu became the first foreign leader to visit Trump in his second term in February, when the U.S. president surprised him by suddenly announcing a plan for the United States to take over Gaza. The Israeli premier visited again in the month of April. The 7th of July visit comes after Trump said that he hoped for a truce in the Palestinian territory within a week. Also, Strategic Affairs Minister is due to visit the White House this week for talks to lay the ground for Netanyahu's visit.
This administration is in constant communication with Israeli leadership, and the president himself speaks frequently, as you know, to Prime Minister Netanyahu. But this has been a priority for the president since he took office, to end this brutal war in Gaza. It is because of this president that humanitarian aid is being brought into the region. It's heartbreaking to see the images that have come out from both Israel and Gaza throughout this war, and the president wants to see it end. He wants to save lives, and however, the main priority for the president also remains to bring all of the hostages home out of Gaza.
Meanwhile, Israeli government spokesman David Mencer has said that Netanyahu is working to end the campaign in Gaza.
Now, with the success of Operation Rising Lion, in partnership with our American allies, many opportunities have opened up now following this victory. The Prime Minister made clear just yesterday we need to, first of all, get the hostages out and resolve the Gaza issue and defeat Hamas. The Prime Minister made clear that we will achieve both tasks, and moving more broadly to the opportunities for peace in the entire region, broad regional possibilities are opening up.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on Monday ruled out a quick resumption of talks with the United States and said Tehran will first need assurances it will not be attacked again. In an interview to a news channel, Araghchi said Iran still needs more time, although the doors of diplomacy will never slam shut. Araghchi was also asked about an assessment from the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog that Iran would likely be able to begin to produce enriched uranium in a matter of months. He said one cannot obliterate the technology and science for enrichment through bombings. The Iranian foreign minister said Tehran was prepared to defend itself if attacked again. On Monday, Trump said he was not offering Iran anything, nor engaging in talks since the country's nuclear facilities were totally obliterated. In the United States, voting is underway to pass President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill to extend his expiring first-term tax cuts at a cost of $4.5 trillion. The package is expected to slash social welfare programs and add an eye-watering $3 trillion to the national debt. Trump wants the bill to boost military spending and fund his plans for unprecedented mass deportations and border security. But senators eyeing 2026 midterm congressional elections are divided over savings that would strip around $1 trillion in subsidized health care from millions of the poorest Americans and add more than $3.3 trillion to the nation's already yawning budget deficits over a decade. Trump has meanwhile said failure to pass the spending bill means a whopping 68% tax increase. He wants to have the package on his desk by the time Independence Day festivities begin on Friday. However, approval by the Senate is only half of the battle, as the 940-pager text will have to pass a separate vote in the House of Representatives, where several rebels in the slim Republican majority are threatening to oppose it. The United States will resume trade negotiations with Canada immediately after Ottawa scrapped its digital services tax targeting U.S. technology firms. The announcement was made by White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett on Monday. Canada's ministry also confirmed that Prime Minister Mark Carney had spoken to U.S. President Donald Trump and agreed to restart trade negotiations, aiming to reach a new deal by the 21st of July. Canada's finance ministry said the country had decided to delay its implementation hours before the tax was scheduled to begin. The tax, which was to take effect Monday, would have imposed a 3% levy on the Canadian revenues of large digital firms like Amazon, Google, Meta and Apple. The tax would have applied to revenue exceeding $20 million from Canadian users and would have been retroactive to 2022. US President Donald Trump on Monday continued his extended attack against Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, demanding interest rate cuts. White House Press Secretary, at a briefing, displayed a copy of Trump's handwritten notes to Powell on a piece of paper showing the interest rates charged by more than 24 countries. She said Trump believes interest rates should be lowered to about 1%. Trump said that Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell and members of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors have failed to do their jobs.
The president sent this note to the Fed chair. It says, Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the USA a fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rate by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being lost and there is no inflation. And the president is right. There is historically low inflation thanks to his policies. And we will continue to drive down the cost of living in this country for Americans. We will continue to deregulate. And it's also incredibly important that we pass this one big, beautiful bill, which is the largest tax cuts in American history.
The Trump administration on Monday accused Harvard University of violating federal civil rights law by not protecting Jewish students from harassment during campus protests. Trump administration said that Harvard University violated civil rights laws over its treatment of Israeli and Jewish students, potentially further endangering its federal funding. In a letter sent to Harvard, the administration accused the university of deliberate indifference towards the concerns of Jewish students who felt threatened on the campus. The move is the latest in a series of legal and financial battles between Harvard and the White House. The Trump administration has also sought to remove Harvard from an electronic student immigration registry and instructed U.S. embassies around the world to deny visas to international students hoping to attend the Massachusetts-based university. Meanwhile, Harvard said it has made significant strides to combat discrimination and strongly disagree with the government's finding. Billionaire Elon Musk said he would follow through on threats to establish a third party if President Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill is enacted by the Congress. The world's richest man renewed his attacks the GOP's cornerstone legislation over the weekend. Musk threatened to field his financial resources against Republicans who support it. He also ramped up his criticism, saying lawmakers who had campaigned on cutting spending but backed the bill should hang their heads in shame. Meanwhile, Trump has blamed Musk's criticism on the president, ending government subsidies for electric vehicles and rejecting the corporate executive's choice to head NASA. Staying with the U.S., police have identified the gunman who ambushed and fatally shot 2 firefighters responding to a forest fire in northern Idaho on Sunday. Norris said the 20-year-old suspect, Wes Rowley, did not have a criminal record and did not leave a manifesto. Firefighters came under fire almost immediately upon arriving at the scene on Sunday and did not know where the gunfire was coming from. The suspect was found using cell phone location information and his body was removed by a SWAT team as the fire approached. Deaths related to gun violence are common. 17,927 people were murdered with a gun in the year 2023 across the United States. Moving on. Streaming giant Netflix announced on Monday a new partnership with NASA that will allow viewers to binge-watch rocket launches, spacewalks and stunning Earth views from the International Space Station. The collaboration aims to bring space exploration closer to the audiences worldwide through NASA Plus Feed. Netflix NASA Plus Feed will offer live streams of rocket launches, astronaut spacewalks and breathtaking views of Earth from the orbit. NASA says the partnership will help inspire new generations by sharing space stories right from the comfort of their couch or on their phone. The NASA Plus content will remain free on NASA's website and app. Netflix, with over 300 million subscribers, recently expanded content partnerships globally, including one with French broadcaster TF1, and has begun live streaming sports events as well. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Thousands flee wildfires in Turkey as Europe is hit by early heat wave. Flash floods and landslides bring havoc in northwestern Italy. Rio's National Museum reopens with restored exhibits after 2018 fire.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching the India News Hour. Time to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. India's External Affairs Minister says terrorism is one of the gravest threats to humanity, demands global action on state-sponsored terrorism, inaugurates UN exhibition on the human cost of terrorism at the UN headquarters. White House highlights strong Trump-Modi ties, underscores India's key role in Indo-Pacific strategy, confirms US-India close to finalized trade deal agreement. Comments come as External Affairs Minister is in the US to attend Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. Digital India journey completes 10 successful years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds the 10 years of transformative initiative, hails India's journey highlighting sectoral growth and development. US President Donald Trump officially dismantles decades of US sanctions on Syria with an executive order, easing sanctions aiming to boost foreign investment. Sanction will remain on Bashar al-Assad and his associate. Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand under revised alerts for very heavy rains in next 3 hours. Schools shut in Himachal's Hamirpur as many districts across 2 states brace for rain fury. And scorching heat wave grips much of Europe, prompting authorities to issue health and wildfire warnings. Unprecedented alerts in France. Britain swelters as temperature soars. In Bangladesh, cases of crime against women have increased phenomenally in the last 10 months after the interim government took control of Bangladesh on the 8th of August last year. According to a recent survey conducted by the Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics, 75.9% of women in the country have experienced some form of violence in their lifetime. On Thursday, a person barged into house of a Hindu woman in Ramchandrapur Panchkita village and raped her. Her ordeal did not end there, as shortly after the incident, some people beat her, had her clothes torn off, filmed that incident and circulated the video on social media platform. This heinous and despicable incident has sparked widespread outrage on social media. And to get you more on this, I'm joined by the India correspondent Naval Singh Parmar from Dhaka. Naval Singh, when we talk about the recent number of crimes that has increased in Bangladesh so far, the statistics says it all. But the current government of Bangladesh seems not be taking any cognizance of the fact. What is the situation there? Because we've seen protests also going on against the rape case that recently took place.
Yes, well, first of all, in Bangladesh, after the Yunus administration took over the charge of the affairs, the law and order situation in Bangladesh is very bad, and particularly crime against the women and children have been increased phenomenally. The reason is police do not have any control, or they don't have any much presence on the roads and streets of Bangladesh who can control the crime. And there is a report, just today morning I was going through a report that many higher level officials post in police department is vacant. And the second thing is intention, because there is no fear of police in the people like who have raped the Hindu woman in the Komila district a few days ago. So this is the whole scenario in Bangladesh, and the crime level and the what we can say, the fear of law and fear of law enforcement agency, there is no fear. So rampantly people, mischievous people are taking the benefit of this kind of lawlessness situation in Bangladesh.
And also when we talk about the interim government, because of the fact that this is the interim government right now of the Yunus and his team, Yunus and his co. But what are the sentiments of the local people towards the government there? Because as you said, the law and order situation has completely gone for a toss.
Yes. Yes, this kind of incidents expose the failure of the interim government, and particularly in maintaining the law and order situation. Economic situation is very bad, that is true, but at the same time, law and order situation is also becoming day by day, worsening day by day. That is the cause of worry for the common people, and particularly the minority communities. It may be Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, or tribal, anyway. But the situation is grim for the people who are living on margin.
All right, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us the latest straight from Bangladesh. Moving on, Thailand's ruling political dynasty faces fresh legal peril on Tuesday, with Prime Minister Pentokran Shinawatra risking suspension from office by the Constitutional Court. Thailand's Constitutional Court is due to meet on Tuesday to consider a petition seeking the dismissal of Prime Minister Shinawatra as pressure mounts on a government battling to survive and under fire on multiple fronts. The petition by 36 senators accuses Pentokran Shinawatra of dishonestly and breaching ethical standards in violation of the constitution over a leaked telephonic conversation with Cambodia's former leader Hun Sen. If the court accepts the case, it could decide to suspend the premier from duty with immediate effect. Meanwhile, the criminal court in Bangkok began the first hearing in a lese majesty case against former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra on Tuesday. The case against Thaksin stems from a 2015 media interview that he gave while in self-imposed exile, from which he returned in 2023 to serve a prison sentence for conflicts of interest and abuse of power. The trial comes as political heavyweight Thaksin also faces a Supreme Court ruling this month that could overturn his parole that was granted in February last year after a 6-month hospital stay. Global weather updates now. Updates first from India. The monsoon has now swept across the entire country, offering much needed respite from the sweltering heat in Delhi NCR and other parts of North India. On Monday, the Met Department confirmed that active monsoon conditions will persist across large swathes of northwest, central and east India over the week, with heavy rainfall expected to continue. In the national capital, the season's first widespread showers on Sunday provided welcome respite from the oppressive humidity, bringing down maximum temperatures to 32.8 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees below normal. The IMD has issued a yellow alert for the national capital Delhi, forecasting light to moderate rainfall to continue until the 5th of July. While the rainfall has brought relief from sweltering heat, it has also triggered flash floods and landslides, particularly in the states of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Incessant rains for the last 72 hours have wreaked havoc in the Himalayan state of Himachal Pradesh. Worst hit is the Mandi district on the banks of river Bias, where 4 incidents of cloud burst have been reported last night. Due to incessant rainfall, the Bias River is experiencing severe flooding. The IMD has issued a red alert in Himachal Pradesh. The Weather Department has advised local administrations and the public to remain cautious, particularly in areas prone to landslides and floods. All educational institutions, schools and colleges are closed as the Met Department has predicted further rains in the next 12 hours. And to get you more on this, I am joined by DD India's Prakash Pant from Shimla. Good morning, sir. When we talk about the latest condition there in Shimla, what is the current advisory saying? Because red alert has now been sounded by the Weather Department.
Yeah, Deepika, the situation is quite grim right now because the Met Department has revised its prediction for today. In fact, it has revised its prediction for the coming 3 hours, which is very rare for Met Department to issue such early forecast. So the prediction is that the 7 districts are going to experience very heavy rainfall including Kangra, Shimla, Solan, Kullu, Manali, Mandi, Bilaspur, Hamirpur, these districts. So practically 7 out of the 12 districts are under the red zone of rainfall. So the situation is grim, Deepika.
And also when we talk about the localites there, how is it affecting the daily lives?
Oh, it is completely thrown the life out of gear, especially in the Mandi and the surrounding district, which is on the banks of Beas River, as you had reported in your story prior to this my live. 7 or 5 people have been reported swept away by the cloudburst that occurred late night when people were sleeping in their homes. Sudden cloudburst and a flash flood have swept many areas and surrounding to Mandi, which is especially the Karsog area. So, and the rescue operations are now still on, but the situation is bad there in Mandi. The water of Beas is rising, and people are being evacuated from the bank because the embankment, the river Beas has overshot its embankment, and it is spreading fast. And the rivulets, the hill rivulets, they are on spate. So overall things are bad, and also the tunnel connecting Mandi to Manali, it has been blocked from both the sides of the tunnel. So large number of vehicles are stranded there. So people are feeding them with breakfast, something else, but and the NHAI is busy restoring the road, and they are saying that in the coming 1 or 2 hours the traffic will resume, given if fresh landslide does not take place. So administration is in high alert, but people are in a lot of trouble here.
All right, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us the latest straight from Himachal Pradesh. While monsoon mayhem wreaked havoc in North India, severe heat waves across southern Europe has led to extreme temperatures, triggering health warnings and wildfire alerts in several countries, including nearly all of mainland France. Our next report gets you more details. Take a look.
Firefighters in Turkey and France battled wildfires on Monday as an early summer heat wave swept across Europe, forcing over 50,000 evacuations. Health alerts were issued in France, Spain, Italy, Portugal and Germany, while the Netherlands also warned of upcoming high temperatures and humidity. Wildfires in France's Aude department burned 400 hectares and forced evacuations as temperatures exceeded 40 degrees centigrade. Weatherman has issued orange heat wave alerts for 84 of 101 departments, with peak heat expected on Tuesday and Wednesday. Paris was on red alert on Tuesday with the top of the Eiffel Tower shut, polluting traffic banned and speed restrictions in place. Operators of the Eiffel Tower shut the summit of the 330-meter-high landmark on Monday and said it would remain closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. Wildfires continue to burn on the second consecutive day in Turkey's Izmir province, driven by strong winds, while fires near homes in Hatay led to evacuations. Over 50,000 people have been evacuated across 5 regions, including more than 42,000 in Izmir. Britons faced intense heat, with temperatures reaching 33 degrees centigrade in London. Forecast predicted a peak of around 34 degrees centigrade on Tuesday, and a heat health warning remains in effect until Wednesday. Meanwhile, an orange heat warning was issued for most regions of Belgium by the Royal Meteorological Institute for the coming days. In Germany too, heat warnings were in place across large parts of western and southwestern regions on Monday, where temperatures climbed to up to 34 degrees centigrade. At Berlin Zoo, animals received frozen treats and cold showers to help cope with the heat. Meanwhile, in northwestern Italy, heavy rains triggered a flash flood that killed 1 man and caused landslides cutting off mountain roads in Argentera. The mayor had warned residents to stay indoors and avoid bridges after the Frejus waterway overflowed. Globally, extreme heat causes up to 480,000 deaths each year, exceeding fatalities from floods, earthquakes, and hurricanes. Scientists say human-induced climate change is making such heat wave events more intense, frequent, and widespread. Bureau Report, DD India.
In Brazil, the National Museum in Rio de Janeiro reopened its doors on Monday, marking a significant milestone in its restoration journey following the 2018 fire. The fire left only the museum's pastel yellow facade standing and destroyed the majority of the National Museum's collection, which ranged from archaeological findings to historical memorabilia. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. GST marks 8 years with record collections in 2024-25. Djokovic hunts for record 25th Grand Slam title as the hunt continues with the coming back of Wimbledon. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Well, India is projected to continue being the fastest growing economy among all the countries. The latest report from Morgan Stanley's Global Investment Committee projects India's real GDP growth at 5.9% in 2025 and 6.4% in 2026, reaffirming it as the fastest growing economy. The report noted that a trade shock is likely to affect multiple economies at the same time, pushing most of them below their potential growth levels. Global real GDP growth is projected to decline from 3.5% in 2024 to 2.5% in 2025. The report also highlights positive momentum in Asia-Pacific and emerging markets through mid-2026, maintaining an overweight stance on India, Singapore and the UAE due to reforms and strong domestic growth. Despite high valuations, Indian equities are supported by robust retail and institutional investment flows. The Goods and Services Tax, or the GST, widely hailed as one of the biggest economic reforms in post-independence India, completes 8 successful years, with collections soaring to a record 22.08 lakh crore Indian rupees in 2024-25 itself, marking a year-on-year growth of 9.4%, with the number of taxpayers in its ambit surging past 1.51 crore. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had called GST path-breaking legislation for New India at its launch on the 1st of July 2017. 8 years on, the numbers speak for themselves, reflecting India's strong fiscal position. The average monthly collection stood at 1.84 lakh crore rupees in 2024-25, a blockbuster year. In 2020-2021, the total collection was 11.37 lakh crore rupees with a monthly average of 95,000 crore rupees. And it has been 8 years since the implementation of GST, the country's biggest tax reform since independence. The idea was first envisioned in 2000 by the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, but it took 17 years to come to fruition. After building consensus during Modi government's first term, GST was finally rolled out at midnight on the 1st of July 2017. Over these 8 years, GST has significantly contributed to simplifying business operations across the country. Let's listen to this report by Ajay Mishra. GST, the biggest tax reform in India since independence, has completed a successful 8 years journey. Introduced by the Narendra Modi government on the 1st of July back in the year 2017, the reform aimed to simplify doing business by unifying over 17 different taxes under a single system. This landmark move fulfilled the vision of one nation, one tax, one market. As a key player of Digital India, GST has played a vital role in bringing small and medium enterprises into the mainstream economy. The service sector and MSMEs have specially benefited with improved ease of doing business. Despite some initial technical challenges, GST collections have steadily increased since COVID-19 pandemic, reflecting its growing efficiency and acceptance.
ये जीएसटी काउंसिल केंद्र और राज्य ने मिलकर के उन व्यवस्थाओं को विकसित किया है जिसमें गरीबों के लिए जो पहले उपलब्ध सेवाएं थी उन सारी सेवाओं को बरकरार रखा है। दल कोई भी हो, सरकार कहीं की भी हो, गरीबों के प्रति संवेदनशीलता इस जीएसटी के साथ जुड़े हुए सब लोगों ने समान रूप से उसकी चिंता की है।
After the implementation of GST, the number of taxpayers in the country has more than doubled. Before 2017, only 65 lakh people were connected to the VAT system in the country, whereas after the implementation of GST, 80 lakh new taxpayers have been added to its ambit. The average monthly GST collection has increased from 90,000 crore rupees in 2017 to more than 2 lakh crore rupees in May 2025. The average GST rate has also decreased from 15.3% before 2017 to 12.2% in 2023. The trade between states has now increased from 23.5% of the GDP to 35%. Experts believe that the major steps taken in the last 11 years to simplify business, including GST, have benefited both the industry and the consumers. Currently, petroleum, alcohol, and tobacco remain outside the scope of GST. Most of the initial technical flaws have been largely addressed, and the industry is optimistic that a new appellate system for resolving GST related disputes will be introduced soon, further easing the fay for businesses. Ajay Mishra's report for DD India. Tuesday, that is the 1st of July, marks 10th anniversary of Digital India, which is proving to be a milestone in India's progress. Villages have started becoming a part of the country's Digital India campaign. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said 10 years ago, Digital India began as an initiative to transform our nation into a digitally empowered and technologically advanced society. A decade later, we stand witness to a journey that has touched countless lives and ushered in a new era of empowerment. India's 5G rollout is among the world's fastest, offering the world's cheapest internet. India has made many strides in digital payments, powered by the collective resolve of 140 crore Indians. Sectors like health and education have also benefited from the initiative. And details of the journey so far in our next report. Take a look.
Under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India is continuously moving towards a developed India. The Digital India campaign has strengthened the resolve in this direction. The Digital India project was launched on 1st July 2015 with the aim of improving the country's digital infrastructure system. In the last 10 years, through Digital India, India has set an example of how the right use of technology can prove to be revolutionary for the development of humanity. Today, instead of cash money in our pockets, we have started keeping money in our mobile wallets, and even the poorest of the poor people are moving ahead digitally. A revolution where technology meets inclusion. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of Digital India, initiatives like UPI DBT are bridging gaps, boosting transparency and bringing governance closer to every citizen, right down to the last mile. Over 44 lakh crore of rupees directly transferred to beneficiaries' accounts, while more than 2,500 times jump has been recorded in UPI transaction volume. PM Modi asserted that powered by the youth of India, we are making remarkable progress in innovation and application of technology. It is also strengthening our efforts to become self-reliant and a global tech powerhouse. Over 17,000 crore UPI transactions have been recorded in just 1 year. Today, India accounts for 49% of global real-time digital payments, a testament to the power of Digital India initiative. Besides, government's program of providing unique identification number or Aadhaar is powering India's digital identity revolution. With over 150 billion authentication transactions, Aadhaar stands as the world's largest digital ID program, empowering 141 crore Indians with a unique 12-digit identity. Also developed under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Digital India is the flagship initiative of DigiLocker. The initiative towards paperless governance, DigiLocker aims at digital empowerment of citizens by providing access to authentic digital documents to citizens' digital document wallet. DigiLocker is a secure cloud-based platform for storage, sharing, and verification of documents and certificates. India is undergoing a remarkable transformation in artificial intelligence driven by the visionary leadership of PM Modi, from setting up AI centers of excellence in premier institutes to developing indigenous models like Bharat Gen, Sarbam 1, Chitra Lekha, and Everest 1.0. India is making bold strides in the world of AI. Bureau Report, DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest action from the world of sports. To begin with tennis. The opening round of Wimbledon continues on Tuesday, where world number 1 Jannik Sinner begins his bid for a 4th Grand Slam crown. Sinner has never reached a Wimbledon final. The Italian will hope to put that right this time around, having reached the French Open decider for the first time earlier in June. Sinner will take on compatriot Luca Nardi, who's never advanced beyond the first round of a Grand Slam tournament. While Novak Djokovic will begin his hunt for record 25th Grand Slam title when he takes on Frenchman Alexander Muller. Djokovic has reached the final of the last 6 Wimbledons, losing the last 2 to Carlos Alcaraz. He's not added to his Grand Slam collection since 2023 US Open. Djokovic needs just 3 victories to become only the second man to reach 100 match victories at the Grand Slam court tournament. In women's category, Barbora Krejcikova begins her title defense against Alexander, who became the first Filipino to reach a WTA Tour final last weekend. Krejcikova defended the odds at Wimbledon last year when she stunned Grand Slam champion en route to the title as the 33rd seed. Krejcikova has had limited preparation after a back injury that sidelined her for 6 months. She's played 6 matches since her return in the month of May. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.